Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honor unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 men. Just a quick video through the spirit and power, Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Alright, they shall hate the whore. Alright, I was just watching this video here. And Lord willing, this will just be a quick video, straight to the point. Trump is speaking about putting tariffs on the EU. All right, and we know that's going to cause more conflict, within the beast. All right, because the beast, according to the scriptures, is the European Union and NATO. All right, and it's prophesied that these nations, these European Union nations, etc., they're gonna burn the whole with fire. All right, but let's listen in.
Did you know? We have some news right now. Donald Trump wants to impose a 50% tariff on all goods coming in from the European Union beginning on June 1st. Folks, that isn't just about 1 week. That means prices on a whole host of goods that Europe imports into the United States will go up significantly. He issued this post on his Truth Social just minutes after arguing about how he wants 25% tariffs on Apple if it does not manufacture and produce iPhones in the United States. And as a result, the markets did not react well. Investors are spooked once again as we are on the verge of yet another trade war. Really seems like every couple weeks we're doing this song and dance where Donald Trump threatens tariffs on a country, or in this case, a group of countries. The markets react negatively. The markets begin to fall. The bond yields begin to rise. And then just a few days later, Donald Trump kind of backtracks and recants. We'll see if that's what happens now. But June 1st is coming up quick, so let's see what happens. Spread the word. I'll have a full breakdown on my stuff.
All right, so you heard it, and now more than ever, Esau Edom is divided. All right, now more than ever, Esau Edom is divided. All right, and what the Lord spoke about that, that's the end of a kingdom, right? Mark 3 and verse 25, it says what? Verse 24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand, right? And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, And if Satan rise up against Satan, right, and be divided, he cannot stand. But what hath an end? So this is the end of Esau's kingdom we're witnessing right now. All right, because this is going to cause all sorts of problems. Hyperinflation, things are going to go way through the roof. Cost of living, all right, where things were nice and comfy and luxurious in Europe, and around the world. All right, hyperinflation is going to set in. Things going to be in a mess. All right. The prices, everything going to go up. It's going to have, economic decline, recession, people losing their jobs. All sort of confusion and chaos is going to burst out. All right. And they're doing all this to bring in the new world order. All right. So they intentionally collapsing the whole system, these banking families. All right. To bring in the new world order out of chaos, order out KO. All right. This is what they're doing. All right, the Egyptians going to fight against the Egyptians. This is it Isaiah 19 and verse 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. Egypt going back into Babylon, the great America. Right? And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. So the Lord is going to, take it down. You're going to take down Babylon, and these European powers, the beast, it's going to be fighting against itself. It's going to happen. It says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of what? A cruel Lord, which we believe the cruel Lord may be Trump. All right, President Trump. And a fierce king shall rule over them, saith Yahweh, the power of hosts. All right, and all that is to accomplish the prophecy of the Lord. All right, the Lord said that the end, the end of these devils. All right, it's going to come through them. The devils, Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right, it's going to come through them. When you go to Second Esdras, 11th chapter. Let me see if I can find it here. See if I can find this. Best bear with me a moment here. 2nd Ezra 11 and verse 38. All right. In fact, I'll read from verse 37. It says, "And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle." Right, the lion is going into Yahushai. The eagle is going into what? The Roman Empire. The beast, which is, European Union and NATO. The America had at the head. And it said, "Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, art not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts?" Going back into what? That going back into Daniel, is the 7th chapter. All right. "Whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them." Right. The Roman Empire is the empire of what? The Edomites, so-called white men. Right. And the end is going to come through them. The Lord has appointed his bounds which he cannot pass. Right. Job 14 and 5. All right. And Esau, Edom is at the end. Right. It's at his end of the kingdom. He was the one who was set to be ruling at the end of this age. The age of the heathen. All right. Going back into 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 7, it says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed." And we're witnessing the end of Esau's world. And our world, guess what we have next? Our world is coming up. And all these nations, these European nations, a lot of things been leading up to the time of World War III. Going into how they pulled out of Afghanistan and left the other European powers high and dry, like France. They lost a lot. The Nord Stream 2 pipeline with Germany. Germany lost a lot. They had to pay a lot more money for the gas and oil. All right. It just continues because Babylon the Great America, is that is it that horn? Can't remember, from the book of Daniel. Basically had a prouder look, a more stout look than his fellows, right? And that's exactly what Trump is portraying. That stoutness, that boldness, that pride, that great pride, even against his own people. He turning his own people, his own Edomites, into enemies. Going to a trade war. Trade war will lead to what? A world war. All right. And we already seen signs of that. Obadiah 1. And let's read from verse 7. It says, "All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee," and they're going to deceive America, right? "And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him." Right? So they're gonna attack America. We're gonna read that shortly. It says, "Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau?" Yeah, the Lord is gonna do it. All right. Go into Revelation 17 and verse 10. It says, "And there," let me see if I'm gonna show down. Let's go down a little bit. 17 and 16. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast." All right, going back into the original 10, European Union, countries. All right, including including the pigs, the weak nations and the strong nations. All right. It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Right, they're gonna hate the whore. Who's the whore? She has sitteth upon many waters. Going back into early on, Babylon the Great, America. Right, they're gonna hate her. And these and all this trade war and tariffs, this is gonna make the problem worse. It's gonna lead to that. All right, the hate and the whore, "and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." She's gonna be burnt with fire. All right, using the thermonuclear missiles. All right, "For the heavenly Father had put in their hearts to fulfill his will." Right, the Lord is in control of these devils. and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of power shall be fulfilled, right? Until Esau end come. Those missiles land on America and land on the land of Israel, completely destroying it. Right? Only thing is Israel will be rebuilt. Babylon will be a desolation. Alright? So, hey, we at the end here. Pray this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Shalom, Waharag Babal.